It was a time when the fate of a nation hung on the edge of a sword, a time when courage was measured not by the number of warriors in the ranks, but by the steadfastness of their belief. This was the case for Gideon, who stood with an army of 32,000 soldiers strong, ready to defend the tribes of Israel, only to learn that true strength lay not in numbers, but in an unwavering faith in God. Let us journey into the past, where God's mysterious ways unfold a narrative of trust, loyalty, and divine strategy. Witness how God's wisdom reduced a mighty army to a mere handful of the faithful, revealing a powerful truth. With Christ as our lead, the need for an earthly multitude fades into insignificance. This is not a tale of ancient history alone, but a vibrant lesson echoing through time, resonating in our modern lives. As we navigate the complexities and challenges of our world, let us explore together how moments of betrayal, loss, and hardship might be the Creator's way of drawing us closer and crafting a stronger bond with Him. In the Old Testament book of Judges chapter 7, we read the timeless tale of Gideon, who stood on the precipice of war with the Midianites and the Amalekites, prepped and ready with an army of 32,000 strong. However, God had something far greater in store for this eventful day. He wanted to show His mighty power for all time, to strip away any pride in self, and to replace it with unquestionable faith in God's might. The Lord said to Gideon, "The people who are with you are too many for me to give Midian into their hands, for Israel would become boastful. Now, announce to your army, anyone who is afraid, turn back and leave now." 22,000 men left, leaving only 10,000 to remain. But the Lord said to Gideon, "There are still too many men. Bring them down to the water, and I will test them there." So Gideon took the men down to the water. Only 300 of the men drank from cupped hands, but the rest bent their knees to drink from the water. The Lord said to Gideon, "I will deliver you with the 300 men who lapped from their hands, and I will give the Midianites into your hands." Judges chapter 7, verses 1 through 7. We read that Gideon and the 300 remaining men gathered around the Midianites, Amalekites, and their allies during the night, each soldier armed with trumpets, clay jars, and torches. On Gideon's order, they broke their jars and sounded their trumpets, shouting, "A sword for the Lord and for Gideon!" The sleeping armies rose in a tumultuous fright as they swarmed this way and that, confusion echoing amidst their ranks. When the 300 trumpets sounded, the Lord caused the men throughout the camp to turn on each other with their swords, and the whole army fled. Judges chapter 7, verse 22. As we recall this miraculous tale from the Holy Scriptures, we are reminded that even if we seem to be far outnumbered, even if the world is against us, God's might and power shall always prevail. Through personal reflections and biblical insights, we confront the adversities of life, be they financial ruin, unemployment, illnesses, or betrayal, and we reveal the blessings within, showcasing how God is forever an unwavering ally, even when His machinations seem veiled from view. Trials, I have learned, are but the harbingers of growth, and divine grace is the lighthouse that guides our ship through the stormy seas of life. It's a force mighty enough to turn despair into hope, to liberate us from the shackles of our past and propel us into promising new realms. So when you stumble, resist the pull of giving up, embrace the vast expanse of divine mercy, and set sail on a new voyage, for God has already consigned your missteps to the depths of His forgiveness. And remember, our earthly limitations do not bind our Creator. He is the master of the impossible, the inexhaustible source of our provision, our healer, and the streams of life in the desert trials. If you find yourself weighed down or lost, allow me to offer you my heartfelt advice. Turn to Jesus. He is the ultimate resolver of our troubles, the beacon in our darkest moments, and the wellspring of our spiritual wilderness. By walking in His footsteps, you will discover that the resources of the Almighty are infinite, like a vast ocean awaiting those who dive into its depths with faith. Throughout the tumultuous ride of life, Jesus has been my anchor. His promises the compass by which I navigate in my life. So as you face your own battles, remember to stand firm. For with God by your side, every step is guided, every challenge is an opportunity, and every moment is a chance to witness the boundless power of your faith in action. We may stumble upon the tale of David, the shepherd boy who became a king. His saga was sculpted not by the might of his arm, but by the depth of his own faith. David faced Goliath, a towering embodiment of fear and impossibility, armed with nothing more than a sling and a handful of stones. Yet it was his unshakable trust in God that felled the giant and altered the destiny of Israel for all of eternity. Let us glean that our giants too may tumble, not by the force of our efforts, but by the power of our belief in God. God does not require an army to defeat the indefatigable giants of life, but just one heart, willing to stand with the knowledge and courageous proclamation that the battle belongs to the Lord. Consider further the story of Joshua at the Battle of Jericho, the walls which stood impenetrable, mocking the Israelites with their lofty stature. But the Lord's strategy was one of faith, not brute force. As the people circled the city 7 times, bearing the Ark of the Covenant and sounding their trumpets, the walls did not succumb to the assault of tools or weapons. They crumbled before the mighty power of God, and the city was taken not with bloodshed, but with divine orchestration. In our lives, the walls we face demand similar marches of faith, echoing the truth that victory comes not from our noise, but from the silent trust in Almighty God. As we delve deeper into the annals of faith, we encounter Elijah, a prophet who confronted the prophets of Baal on Mount Carmel, a lone man against a multitude. Yet his heart was filled with the fire of his convictions. It was not the number of his adversaries that determined the outcome of the situation, but it was the purity of his devotion to Almighty God. When he called upon God to answer with fire, the heavens responded, consuming the sacrifice in a blazing inferno of heavenly fire, proving that the true power rests not in the crowds of many, but in the power of Almighty God. May we, too, find courage to stand with God, even when we are outnumbered. For in His presence, we are always in the majority. And what about Esther, the queen who risked her crown and her life for the people of God? In the face of a decree of destruction, it was not an armed rebellion that she turned to, but fasting, prayer, and the courage to stand before the king. Her story teaches us that our battles may not require us to draw our swords, but to kneel down in prayer, to act with wisdom, and to speak with grace. It is often in quiet defiance that we align ourselves with God's will and see the salvation of many. These stories are pillars of our heritage, but they are not merely relics, but beacons illuminating our own walks with God. They whisper to us that faith is the thread that weaves through time, connecting us to a tapestry far greater than we could ever imagine. They urge us to look beyond what we can see and to trust in the unseen. They beckon us to live with conviction that our stories are still being written by the greatest author of all. Let us then, with hearts emboldened by these witnesses, step forward into the unknown. With each sunrise, let us affirm our trust in the one who commands it to rise. May our lives resonate with faith's melody, harmonizing with the ancient songs of our forefathers. For in the symphony of existence, it is faith that turns the discord of our fears into a chorus of hope. So let us embrace each day, each challenge, each moment of uncertainty with the assurance that we are never alone, never without hope, and never beyond the reach of God's unfathomable love.